Just going to share my screen one moment. All right. All good? Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate your time. I'm Soren Christensen. I'm the project manager in the Climate Leadership Division, and I'm joined by our communications officer, Lauren DeRush. And we are here today to talk about the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund. So we just confirmed that we are recording the meeting, so we can use this webinar for future promotion. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, we will have a dedicated Q&A at the end of the webinar, at the end of the presentation portion before the activity. But if you have any questions, feel free to just pop your questions in the chat and we'll answer all of them. And then at the end, when we get to the Q&A, you can also use the raise hand function and we'll enable it so you can ask the question with your voice. But all of your video will be hidden unless you're presenting. And if you do have any tech issues, please just drop out and rejoin the webinar and we should be able to let you right back in. And if there's anything like sound or issues with streaming or the screen not being visible, please let us know in the chat and we'll try to address that. And so before moving on, I just wanted to give a brief land acknowledgement. The city of Kingston acknowledges that we are on the traditional homeland of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat, and thank these nations for their care and stewardship over this shared land. Today, we are committed to working with Indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. Sorry, one moment. Okay, so just to give a brief overview of what we're going to cover tonight, I'm going to give just a very brief history of the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund. We're going to give the floor over to a board member of the Kingston Community Credit Union, Dan Hendry, to talk about the incredible partnership that we have with the KCCU and how that has enabled us to really bring projects to life through this fund. I'll give an overview of eligibility requirements, the process and timelines and application components of the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund. And then we have some special guests from Extended Family Kingston to give a project highlight on an incredible project that they completed several years ago in the fund, just to really inspire and show what's possible in terms of projects that can be completed locally through the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund. And then we will move on to a bit of a project brainstorm and Q&A opportunity as well. So Council approved the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund in July of 2020 to enable community members and organizations to become part of citywide solutions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And the KCCAF helps local charities and not-for-profit organizations to complete sustainable projects in the following ways: to support initiatives that reduce greenhouse gas emissions or air emissions, to increase energy conservation or efficiency, to reduce or divert organic waste from landfill, and to assist with climate change adaptation and technology innovation. And now in its 5th year, the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund is an annual campaign that helps community organizations pursue climate action. And so each year, the KCCAF allows a registered charity or nonprofit organization or several a chance to empower them and work to harness the power of the city, of the entire community, to implement climate action solutions. So just to give a brief overview of some of the projects that we've completed. So in the first year, the campaign started in 2020 and went through Q1 of 2021. Martha's Table is able to purchase an electric vehicle to support their food deliveries and operations, thereby reducing greenhouse gas emissions and promoting local food security. Habitat for Humanity completed some new affordable housing developments, and they were able to implement air source heat pump systems in these installs, so thereby reducing the greenhouse gas emissions of those builds. In 2022, there were 3 unique projects completed. So there was a Cycle Kingston bicycle valet parking. So this is a recurring service that is provided for events where you can securely park your bike at different events. And this enables active transportation, so reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Extended Family Kingston, who you'll hear more about, completed their Dunya hydroponic greenhouse. I won't go into any more details because I know that they're going to do an even better job than I possibly could in explaining what they've accomplished. And then Sustainable Kingston completed a number of rain gardens, enhancing nature-based solutions for climate change resilience, so kind of a climate adaptation approach. Then in 2023, we completed 2 projects. The Frontenac Club Daycare Integration Program was building a new space, and they were able to put in spray foam insulation and heat pumps into their new space, enabling new spaces for daycare in the most sustainable way possible. And then also Sustainable Kingston was able to purchase an electric vehicle for the use of by their energy auditors. So to complete energy audits for residential homes and doing that in the most sustainable way possible, getting around Kingston. And just this past year, we were able to complete a really awesome and unique project with All Our Relations Land Trust at the Indigenous Food Sovereignty Garden off of Highway 15. And they installed a solar-powered irrigation system. So essentially, all of the pumping of water that is used for their garden is now powered by solar. It's also grid ready, and it also enables them to transition over time to using all battery operated equipment that they can recharge instead of using combustibles. Think about trimmers, lawnmower, etc. They can slowly transition to only using electrical appliances and tools. And we just successfully reached the fundraising goal, and that project was completed actually very recently, just came online just a few weeks ago, and we had an awesome launch event. So year over year, we've completed some awesome projects, and none of it would be possible without the Kingston Community Credit Union. So the KCCU partners on this project and has generously matched $5,000 in public donations made at KCCU branches since the launch of the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund. And so we can't thank the KCCU enough. And Dan Hendry is here today to just chat a little bit about the work that the KCCU does in this partnership. So I'll pass it over to you, Dan.
Thank you so much, Soren, and thank you everyone for having me here this evening. My name is Dan Hendry. I'm honored to serve on the Kingston Community Credit Union Board of Directors, and today I'm here to speak about an initiative that's really close to our hearts at the KCCU, which is, of course, the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund. At the KCCU, our mission is to foster financial health of our members, and our vision includes contributing to the well-being of our community. As a cooperative, our business model is all about collaboration. The Kingston Community Climate Action Fund aligns perfectly with our values as it drives crucial climate initiatives that benefit every resident of Kingston. The Kingston Community Climate Action Fund is a vital force in our community. It promotes projects that aim to reduce our carbon footprint and enhance our environmental sustainability. As you've seen, from renewable energy installations to community gardens, the KCCAF, I got that one right, is at the forefront of our climate action. But here at the KCCU, we support to strive to be a part of local climate action solutions and to contribute to our community's goal of becoming carbon neutral, our city, no later than 2040. We've committed to, by supporting the City of Kingston and local charity and not-for-profit in their climate actions by promoting, participating in, and providing financial support to the Kingston Climate Action Fund since its inception since 2020. We've actively promoted the projects and their need for donation of matched donations at our branches up to $5,000 each year to support these great projects, and have contributed over $20,000 in total to date. Our support of the KCCAF is not just about funding, it's about creating lasting change. By supporting these projects, we're helping to ensure a healthier, more sustainable future for all Kingston residents. The benefits of these initiatives, such as clean air, reduced energy costs, and increased community engagement, are profound and far-reaching. And I can say, being involved in these projects, you really see it and feel it over the course of what you do as a group, fundraising together. We're inspired by the city's efforts towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And as such, we've actually revised our Green Home Loan Program and also introduced an eco-smart vehicle loan for hybrid electric vehicles and two-wheel transportation choices, including electric bikes, scooters, and conventional bicycles, to help our members economically finance their green home projects and smart vehicle purchases. From our boardroom to our front line, we are committed to helping our city and our planet move towards a more sustainable future. So can I say dream big today? Because we've seen the KCCAF bring some pretty amazing things to reality. And together we can drive meaningful change and create a more sustainable Kingston. Thank you for having me here, allowing the KCCU to participate, and I hope you have a great session. Thanks, Soren.
Very well said. What a professional. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. And yeah, amazing what we've been able to accomplish with the help and support and working alongside the KCCU in this program, and also just great people to work with. And we always have a good time, and really cool to hear about those kind of new and innovative financial products that are being offered locally. Great alternative to big banks. I'm not paid by the KCCU, but they do great things. So I'm just being totally genuine. Okay, and then moving on, just talking about the fund. So really getting into the nitty gritty. The objective of this fund is to raise charitable donations to support local projects proposed by eligible community organizations through one-time grants. And these community projects, as I said earlier, need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and/or air emissions, increase energy conservation or efficiency, reduce or divert organic waste, and/or assist with climate change adaptation. And the fund may also prioritize the selection of projects that have sustained impacts, such as have sustained impacts, i.e. annual reductions year over year versus one-time impacts, that are scalable, and that have other benefits, such as affordable housing or food security, which our project highlight does. So in terms of eligibility criteria, applicants must be registered charities or nonprofit organizations. Projects must be implemented within Kingston city boundaries and be substantially completed within 12 months of receiving the grant. And projects must be tangible and have measurable impacts once the project is fully complete. So some eligible projects. These are some general examples of what eligible projects look like, and these are within the categories of what most of the projects we've completed have been. So for example, a nonprofit housing provider proposing to install energy performance improvements in new builds with a focus on renewables that exceed the standard energy efficient aspects of the Ontario Building Code. So for example, the Habitat for Humanity project, they were not required to put in high energy efficiency heat pumps. They did that. It was taking a step that was a higher capital expenditure, and so they qualified for the fund. A nonprofit food provider investing in an electrical vehicle to support their transportation needs, just like Martha's Table. A nonprofit or charity could utilize a cargo bike, so that would be eligible as well, as a sustainable form of transportation instead of using a gas-powered vehicle. Community bicycle parking is an example. Food gardens, strategies to divert organic waste, as well as electrical charging stations. And ineligible projects. So carbon sequestration projects such as tree planting or land preservation are ineligible for funding through the KCCAF due to the number of existing funding programs aimed at supporting this area. And education projects and events are also ineligible to prioritize projects that achieve measurable emissions reductions. In terms of eligible costs, the project budget should only include costs that are directly linked and are essential for undertaking the proposed initiative. So these examples would include the purchase of goods or services essential for carrying out the project, fees for professionals, consultants, and contractors performing work specifically for the project, advertising to inform the public of the project and promotional items for participants, and the rental or purchase of equipment essential for conducting the project. And if funding is awarded, all eligible expenditures must be supported by receipts and invoices for submission of final reports for audit purposes. And just to touch on ineligible costs, so you know kind of what you're getting into in terms of making an application to this fund, costs that are associated with ongoing operating costs and are not specific requirement of the proposed initiative, expenses incurred prior to the project funding approved by the city, scholarships, retroactive fees, ordinary office supplies or office furniture, monthly telephone fees, utilities, in-kind donations or volunteer time, salaries of existing staff, advertising that's the result of ongoing business activity, travel, and accommodation costs to attend conferences. So essentially, no operating costs or regular costs can be included. It's really just for capital costs for one-time projects that may have sustained or ongoing benefit. So just to look at the application criteria quickly. So applications will be made on the City of Kingston's website. It's a simple web form. You can always reach out if you have questions or run into any issues with the application, and we'll touch on the application period in just a moment. You're going to demonstrate in your application how your project will reduce greenhouse gas emissions, assist with climate change adaptation and/or technological innovation, and really describe your project plan. What will you be doing? Where will it take place? How long will the implementation take? What will the details be? There's a budget template that you'll include as part of your application, and this would include if there's other funding sources. For example, you're getting capital through a grant or another funding source or stream that will be combined with funding from the KCCAF. And you'll also outline how you will measure the impact of your project. And then a key component of an application, which is really important to communicate tonight because it could take some time and you want to be aware of it, is a letter of commitment from your board of directors. So we have a template. We will be sharing the application guidebook, and we can also share this template for early access so you can review it with your board of directors. I know people go away over the summer. Obviously, there's lots of vacations, and so especially for not-for-profits or charities, there may not be that many meetings of your board of directors, but we have implemented this just so we ensure that everyone's on the same page and that we're all working together towards meeting our fundraising goals. And then there is also a letter of commitment for formal partnership, only if the applicant is a not-for-profit organization that does not have charitable status. And so if you want more details on that, just reach out and I will definitely provide them. And so for the application criteria, the things that we're really thinking about when we are evaluating applications, so have you demonstrated how the proposal will reduce greenhouse gas emissions, assist with climate change adaptation and/or technology innovation? Have you included the well-described plan to carry out the project? Is it feasible? Can it be completed substantially within 12 months? What is your plan to assess and measure project outcomes? If you're not sure about how to measure greenhouse gas emissions reductions or anything like that, no problem. We can work together on that and we can support you to figure that out. And then just the basic requirements that I just addressed. So touching on the timeline, so we are going to be launching the application period starting on August 21st, 2024. And then you will have over a month to apply on the city's website until September 25th. In October, all of the eligible applications will be compiled into a report and presented to the Kingston Environmental Advisory Forum, who will evaluate proposals against the fund criteria and make recommendations to council. And in November, a report will go to council, who will, with recommendations for projects, and council will vote on a resolution for those projects. And then coming to December 1st, once the projects have been selected, we will work with the charity or nonprofit organizations on the fundraising campaign through until March 31st. So this is just a bit more of a detailed process flowchart of how everything works. So we issue the call for proposals. So that's the application period. We receive them, Keith evaluates them, as I said, and then they go to council for consideration. We then will work with the charity or nonprofit organization ahead of the launch of the fundraising campaign, collect funds from the community, and we will support you through this process and you know, through the many lessons that we've learned over the years of working with various organizations. And we'll be collecting public donations through Canada Helps online, through the Kingston Community Credit Union, in person at any branch location, and also they can be made at TD Bank. And then the city will allocate funds to projects based on what we collect. And then once the fundraising goal has been met, donees will carry out work and they'll report the results of the completed projects, and then we will report that to council the following year. And so we touched on this from the KCCU, but along with oversight of the application process, campaign support, and ongoing strategy meetings as needed, the city will also match $15,000 of public donations in addition to the $5,000 from the KCCU. So just a couple important points. So really thinking about this critically as you're speaking with your board of directors, speaking with your team, coming up with a project idea. In order to succeed, any organization that's participating in the KCCAF really has to be united to work together with their board of directors, with their membership, and with outreach to the public. So the city, we will do everything we can to support, but we can only do so much to support a campaign because we don't connect directly with your membership or who you serve, etc., your broader community in the same way that you do. So success really requires collective buy-in and dedication to the project from everyone involved. And if a project is unsuccessful in reaching its fundraising goal and cannot continue to complete the project, then the funds donated to that individual project will be redistributed to other projects in the campaign. And this is outlined on the Canada Helps donation page. And if you have any questions about that, just let me know. And we're in this together. And so we really want you to reach out with any questions or ideas so we can collaborate. We still have lots of time to support you before the application period starts. We're also going to be doing a quick activity tonight where we can suggest, different project ideas and really think through it together. So please don't be a stranger. We'll be reaching out with a follow-up email after this with some more information. And so let's just keep the dialogue going. If you're interested, but you're not sure, even at the end of this webinar, what you might do, or if there might be some barriers or challenges you're not sure how to overcome, please let us know. And we want to work together and support you to make some awesome projects happen. And so these are just a couple FAQs that have come up. So just in terms of how donations will be collected. So once projects are selected, I think I already addressed this one, but through the KCCU branches, through Canada Helps, those are our primary forms to collect donations. Will projects be fully funded? So applicants may require other sources of funding to complete their proposed initiative in cases where donations don't fully cover all associated costs. Donations raised will be distributed to eligible projects after the fundraising campaign, and the proponent will then enter into a funding agreement with the city. So that's an important one to note. There is a funding agreement that will be signed by the organization as well as the city, summarizing roles and responsibilities for project implementation, and funding recipients must monitor the impacts of the project and report those results. Will projects be, I got that one. Can the same organization submit another proposal for funding? So as long as you have completed, so if you've already participated in the fund and you've completed a project, you can apply again. And can an organization that has already received funding apply in subsequent years to secure money for the same project? Grant recipients interested in applying in subsequent funding rounds must first complete their initial project. I think I already addressed that, with final reports submitted to the city and approved before reapplying. Okay, so that's enough nitty-gritty for me. I think that's all of the general information and parameters of the fund and the rules and everything. And now we can pass it on to kind of the more inspiring part of the presentation. And so I would welcome Ian and Paul from Extended Family Kingston to hop on and tell us about their Denya hydroponic greenhouse project that was completed in 2022.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Soren. And thank you again for having us here and to allow us to feature our successes with the project and the funding that we used from our submission back in 2022. I guess I'll start by just giving a a little overview of what we had applied for back then. So at Extended Family Kingston, we offer supports and services and inclusive programs for people, both kids and adults with developmental disabilities. And a big part of what we had done at Extended Family is created a space through our community garden network, an outdoor space, which we called our diversity garden, where we participated in a lot of gardening, life skills building programs for the individuals that we supported. And that was something that Paul worked on quite a long time ago with, with TP Moza and with other organizations to create this community garden network and a space where the community could come together and the individuals we support could be a part of that community. And I think that when we applied to the Community Climate Action Fund, we were looking for ways that we could grow our community and grow our impact, but at the same time be contributing to that sustainability piece. And we only had so much kind of space in our community garden. And when we proposed this project, it was a real way that we could increase the good that we could do and the programs that we offered. So I know Paul was the one who applied for that. So maybe you'll want to speak to a little bit about how we went about applying and how the fundraising went.
Yeah, thanks, Ian, and thanks for having us. It's a great opportunity to talk about this project that we're still obviously very much excited about, and it's ever evolving, which is the most exciting part. We're always looking at ways to change and to make it more than it is today, and that keeps it really fresh for us. But if I could just take it back just a step or two, because I think it's important for us in terms of where this all started. And Ian did mention it was back in 2014, and I won't bore you with too much detail, but I think it's really important just to quickly say, in 2014, we decided to revamp our programs and make them more community-based and just to offer different things to participants that came through our door that they wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to do and to partake with. So that said, we were fortunate enough at that time to apply for some funding through the United Way and the City of Kingston at that time, which funded what Ian referred to as our diversity garden, which was and still is a community garden / sensory garden. So it was a twofold approach to a service that we could provide to the community that offered a seed to table learning component, as well as an opportunity for people to just come and relax and enjoy and experience a setting that was stimulating in a lot of different ways to a lot of different senses. So we really have expanded from there. And when the pandemic came about in 2020, we had just been talking to the Dunya Hydroponics group that we purchased the hydroponic pod through about these hydroponic pods and kind of starting to go in a different direction with our programming and implementing this aspect to our portfolio. And the pandemic hit, and we shut down like everybody else in the world. This actually fueled our fire, and really when the opportunity was presented to us for the Kingston Community Climate Action Fund, we were right in the midst of trying to figure out how we could still provide a service to our participants and to the community that the community actually started to depend on a little bit in terms of our partnerships that we had established through our community garden and through the donations that we were making to places like Martha's Table and Loving Spoonful. And it wasn't just those donations, but it was the programming, and it was the collaboration that was happening and the opportunities that our individuals had to go back and forth to provide the donations and to participate at Martha's Table and learn other skills and meet other people. So it's all really relevant, it's all really important for us, and it all really fits in well with this fund. As you're sitting there thinking about whether or not you fit into this, have that vision, like look at yourself and look at not what this can do for you today, but what it can continue to do for you if you're successful in this great opportunity as we have been. and is setting yourself up for a future that can, provides continuous evolution. So I just wanted to add that little piece because I think it's important. So in essence, what this provided us was a safe area where people could continue to program in our hydroponic pods safely during a pandemic. So we, essentially could continue to produce our fruits and vegetables for the community once we were up and running with our pod. So that was really important for us because one of the things that we recognized as a charity and a nonprofit organization is that we're really fortunate. This community has been very, very, very generous to us, and we really wanted to figure out a way how we could be generous and give back. And this provides us that opportunity. So not only have you provided us with an opportunity through this fund to do what we do and to provide what we do with the people that we work with, but we're also giving back to the community, and we're opening doors because of that we're very proud of. So I'll turn it back over to you, Ian. You can build from there.
Yeah, no, I mean, so again, the start of this project was with the Community Climate Action Fund and the funds that we needed in order to get going. But really, as Paul mentioned, it's what you do with it afterwards that really makes the impact. And this fund is a great way to start to do something that is innovative and it contributes to sustainability. And that's kind of what we did with our project. So the funds that we used to purchase the hydroponic unit, which if you haven't seen before, would highly recommend to come down to our space and see it. We have some footage here in a video a little bit later. But it really launched our ability to offer these innovative programs and to provide food for the community. And I'm excited to tell you all here today and, let everybody know that with this unit, we've grown now over the past year. We've been continuing to grow, and we've produced over, I think, 500 pounds of lettuce that we've donated. This is produce that's grown locally in Kingston year round, and it's been donated back to the community. So we're able to help other organizations that are helping people and helping our community. So that's something that's really important and central in our vision at Extended Family, is allowing everyone the opportunity to do that. And it is still very much an active project that we're looking for bigger and better ways to take it further and to expand the people that we're able to help and the opportunities we're able to give with this. Since this purchase of the unit through the Action Fund, we actually have a second unit that was separately funded from another organization who was interested and keen on helping us continue this project. So it's something that really can provide the means to offer a jump point for a project that you really want to give back to the community. So I don't know if Soren, you wanted to just share the video. I know we were having a few tech issues, but
yes, we will do our best. We'll see. But yeah, thank you so much, Ian and Paul. Like, the passion really comes through, and even if the video is a little choppy, we'll give it a go here. I had the chance to watch it earlier today, and it's heartwarming and inspiring, and it's an incredible project. And hearing the impact and the amount of lettuce, like, lettuce doesn't weigh much. So 500 pounds of lettuce, that's a lot. So, okay, here, I'll give it a go and see if this works. Just give it a second. Just gonna try putting it slightly lower. Awesome. I hope it wasn't too choppy for everyone because it was perfectly fine for me, and it was, yeah, that was great. So I don't know if Paul or Ian, you had anything to cap things off there, but thanks so much for that. That was awesome. Yeah, just an awesome example of a great project, and yeah, we hope that kind of gives everyone on the webinar a perspective of what can be accomplished, and also that sense of scale. Like, that was just the start, and you were able to keep that momentum going, get another greenhouse, expand the impact of that project year over year, and that's a sustained impact. And there are also so many co-benefits. It's not just providing food, but it's providing, experience, it's building a community, it's expanding the reach of your organization. And that's what we hope that the KCCAF can do as well, beyond just a sustainable project. It's also, kind of in extending your mission, building community, and strengthening the entire city. So, yeah, happy to cap it there, or if you have final comments, that would be awesome.
I guess I'd just say that, the ability that we have now to provide a space for learning, for giving back, for education, to come in and to experience, to create new opportunities for local high schools and public schools to come in and participate in our programs, create, new communities and new friendships and new networks. It just has given us so many different elements to work with, and to provide opportunity within that. We're just extremely proud. And like I said, continuing to have the vision, as Ian mentioned, we have been fortunate enough to add a second unit. So now we can double our capacity. But that we don't stop there. We've certainly been planning for a future that, if we're fortunate enough, we have space for 7 of these units is kind of the end goal and game for us. But the next step for us would be to have a more accessible unit. As you could tell from the video, the units are quite small. They're 10 by 10 essentially. But we would love to add a more container-sized unit. It's our ultimate goal right now, I think, in terms of just accomplishing something that would be highly accessible, and just provide another level of opportunity for other folks that we support. So, yeah, just continue to have a long-lasting vision around your project. And as we've always said, if you start the talk, just never stop it, because eventually you get there.
Great message. Yeah, thank you so much, Paul and Ian. Really, really appreciate it, and seeing the work of Extended Family Kingston. Very inspiring, and an awesome kind of a shining light of what a project can look like through the KCCAF. So, yeah, thanks again for being here. And yeah, that is pretty much all of the information about the fund. And so we wanted to give all of the attendees at the webinar tonight the chance to ask any questions if they had any. And then we're also going to do just a bit of a project brainstorm, and just have, if you want to bounce ideas off of us in terms of what a project might look like, we wanted to have that opportunity now. So you can drop questions in the chat. I've been sharing the screen, so I haven't really been monitoring if many questions have come in so far. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you prefer to ask your question verbally, you can raise your hand, and we will call on you. And if there aren't any questions, then we can move along to do the brainstorm activity. And if there aren't any brainstorming ideas, then that's okay, and we'll call it there, and we will follow up with more information. But let's give everyone the opportunity to ask any questions they may have. I see one coming up. Can nonprofits and charities submit an application together? That's a great question. Yes, I believe you can have a partnership. If you're a nonprofit that does not have charitable status, you would be required to partner with a charity, because we are receiving charitable donations through this program. So yes, that would definitely be a possibility. And I would encourage you to reach out on the earlier side, so we could chat through and ensure that kind of all of our, I's are dotted and T's crossed in that regard. But yeah, that's definitely a possibility. No problem, Kathy. My pleasure. Okay. Oh. Yeah, I think that's the only one. Okay, we'll give everybody 10 more seconds. If you have a question and you're not sure, you're just typing it out. Don't want to rush anybody, but don't want to take everybody's evening up either.
Kathy has raised her hand, so I'm gonna
Oh, awesome.
invite her
Yeah.
on and give her permission to speak.
Sorry, I didn't realize I had to unmute. Thank you so much for doing this session. I chair CASI, the Kingston Area Seed System Initiative. We're a nonprofit. I didn't realize that we would have to team up with a charity. Do you help us find a charity to team up with?
Yeah,
It's really challenging. We've done it before, like with Loving Spoonful, but it's a lot of work for Loving Spoonful. And so they kind of shut the door, with our support, because it is so much work. So how can you help us with that, or other nonprofits, not just us? Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good question, Kathy. So I don't want to answer incorrectly, but I do believe that because the city has charitable status, we could enter into a formal partnership agreement and we could be that charity. So let's definitely talk about that in more detail, and we can figure out what the best path forward is.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Okay, going once, going twice. I guess I did a good job on the presentation because there aren't that many questions. So we'll take that as a compliment. Okay, so if anyone's interested, still have some participants around. I'm not sure what people are thinking, but we do have just like a prompt. So there we go. So feel free to put in your ideas, and we can just give things a quick review, and just get some project ideas flowing. And then if you're not sure yet or anything like that, that's no problem. As I said, we will follow up with everyone who attended tonight, as well as some general marketing for those who couldn't make it, with our guidebook, and we'll include some ideas in kind of like project categories that would be eligible. So that information's out there.
Okay, not seeing any ideas here, but that's okay. I'm
Yeah.
sure everybody has lots to think about.
Absolutely. No worries. Okay, that sounds good. So yeah, provided there are no final questions, looks like there's a new connection that was made, so that's always awesome. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me. Maybe just before everyone logs off, I'll just pop my email. Oh,
yeah, I just see one other hand raised.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
here
yeah,
right now. So
happy to.
Norman, I'm going to give you permission to chat. There you go.
Oh, there, you can hear me. Okay. So our church, for instance, might be interested in switching over from gas-fired hot water heating to a heat pump system.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we started a campaign, I'm guessing most of the contributions would come from within our community, except for the extra that the city might be kicking in, and that you folks might, and well, have helped us with the campaign. But would we know ahead of time what percentage of the total we need? Because I have no idea. But suppose it needs $50,000. I have no idea. But suppose it did. What might we expect as a contribution from the city?
Right. So yeah, that's a good question. So I can definitely give you just a quick overview of how the matching donations work, so you fully understand that. So essentially, donations made in person at Kingston Community Credit Union branches up to $5,000 are matched dollar for dollar by the KCCU. So if you get $5,000 in donations at a KCCU branch or multiple branches, we have, you know, an existing process in place, a ledger of donations. And so we will, you know, be communicating with the KCCU, and they will match those donations at the end. So 5,000 at the KCCU, that turns into 10,000 effectively. And then public donations made through Canada Helps or the City Payment Center will be matched up to $15,000. So in theory, $20,000 of public donations could be multiplied into $40,000 through matching. So that's essentially how it works. And that is the maximum amount that can be matched. And so it's, you know, it's pretty straightforward, but it's only matched dollars. So if you only got $10,000 in public donations, the city would not contribute 15. We would only contribute 10. Yeah, that's pretty much how the matching of donations works.
Okay, good. Thanks. Now, if the people were contributing directly to our church, like they usually do, if they designate it for that project, but that wouldn't count for a CCU, KCCU, I get the letters. Yeah. So it need to be a donation that goes through the KCCU. Yeah, I see you nodding. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to go through the KCCU through Canada Helps in order to count towards the campaign. Yeah, a regular donation made to the church would not count.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
But you could host a fundraiser and collect funds and deposit that.
Yeah. Okay, good. That helps. Thanks. Yeah.
Absolutely. Glad I could help. All right. Any final thoughts, final questions from anybody? Now is not your only chance. You will be able to access information. We will reach out and follow up. But happy to take any more questions if there are any more. All right. Well, in the interest of time, I suppose we'll give everyone their evening back. So really appreciate all of you being here. And yeah, you'll hear from us. We look forward to hopefully receiving some excellent applications this year and potentially working with some of you on this year's campaign. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it, and talk soon.
I do see one hand raised again, so I'm gonna give
Sounds good.
permission.
Unmuted.
Perfect.
Anyway, the slides that you were showing, are they available on your website, or it could?
Yeah, not the slides, but we have a detailed guidebook that's a lot prettier than the slides and has even more complete information. And we will be sharing that by email with everyone who participated tonight. So we'll send that out within, we'll send that out within the next couple of days.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Absolutely, Norman. Okay.